Hey guys, look, a budget gaming PC. A sub 500-ish dollar gaming PC. Actually, quite a bit lower if you already have a copy of Windows, but we'll talk about that later. So, this is my wife's gaming PC. It is not the best thing in the world, but it does exactly what she needs, which is exactly what you should be looking for when you go to build your gaming rig. Do you want to play top tier titles? New things like The Witcher 3 at 1440p? Well, then this build is probably not for you. This is for 1080p gaming from medium to high setting. So, let's go ahead and get started with what's in the build. Alright guys, so the build started off with the Gigabyte Z97 HD3 ATX motherboard. Why? Because it was a budget motherboard, it was on sale, and it's also an overclocking board. We'll get into that more later. The processor of choice is the Intel Pentium G3258. It is a dual-core processor that is a, how do you put it, very good overclocker. We'll talk more about that as well later. So, moving on to a power supply, we got the EVGA 500 watt, 80 plus, silver or gold, I'm not sure. Either one is perfect. You don't need much more than 500 watt for this build. Graphics card wise, we have an EVGA Super Clock GTX 960. I know you guys might be thinking, oh, but for $80 more you could have, well yeah, for $80 more I could have gotten a graphics card that does more than it needs to do. That's pretty much where I'm at with that. Peripherals, I've got the Microsoft Wireless 3050, nothing special, nothing expensive, nothing too fancy. Does what she needs it to do, and it sits on a TV dinner tray. But, and you know, because she wants to sit over here instead of having to be too close to the computer with wires and be tied up. So that's why I went with that option. Her monitor is actually a 60-inch Philips TV. So yeah, that's really not a monitor, but nor is it a good refresh rate or anything like that, but does what it needs to do. The response time, I haven't noticed anything. I would blame the mouse and keyboard more for a response time issue than I would the television. So let's crack this bad boy open and get inside. The case itself is a Corsair Carbide, I believe, 100R. Has that decent sized little glass panel, and it's got a little bit of a tint to it so that it doesn't look so bright inside of your case when you have lighting. Oh boy, non-modular power supplies. That's okay. You know what you can do about that? You can find a black piece of cardboard, which is actually what I have inside of my build right now, which is no big deal. I'll show you if you guys want to see. The lighting is bad because the camera is over there, but that's my cardboard in my PC. It is literally a little ramp for the fans to lead up to the graphics card, and it covers up the black cables underneath here that you can't see. It's literally just a brown piece of cardboard that I painted with Plasti Dip and waited for it to dry. So that's my fancy solution. Fucking idiot putting cardboard in his computer. He's gonna set fire to the fucker. Well guys, guess what? My computer stays cool. I don't need to worry about it. It's not touching anything electric. It's on top of a power supply and touching the bottom of the case. Nothing electric touching it. So, the SSD of choice is a SSD Plus from SanDisk. It is a 256 gig SSD, which is plenty enough space for the minimal amount of gaming that my wife does. You know, Minecraft, Roller Coaster Tycoon, what is it? The tank game that you guys saw me play on our channel together. There's a cat coming over here. I'm pretty sure she understands that I don't want her over here right now. She wants to see in there. Hey, what are you doing? Being a cat. Don't show everybody your butthole. Okay, so for cooling, I have two Corsair AF120s up front, two Thermaltake SP120s up top, and a generic 120 Corsair, I believe, SP. Looks like it anyway, by the fan blade design in the back. Now the reason I went with that is because those are all the spare fans I had laying around. That way she has a cool running PC that has no issues. I say that while you guys are looking at a stock Intel cooler. No, don't worry about that. She's planning on upgrading to some kind of all-in-one liquid cooler later, so that's not really a big deal. She wants them massive overclocks. Anyways, it runs great, runs fine, no issues. Because of the SSD, it is just as fast, if not faster, to boot than my PC is. Actually, the SSD is rated for like 10 megabytes faster per second than mine. So yeah, that's pretty decent. I mean, you won't really notice it, but cable management wise, this case is alright. I mean, with a modular power supply, it would have been much better, but it's not really that big a deal if you're not into the whole show PC thing. Performance wise, I will either show you a benchmark or just give you numbers in the description of this video so you know what I'm talking about. Every time I record. Every time. Every team. So you guys know what I'm talking about when I tell you the numbers, all that. And there's my little toolkit. It's full of stuff. Alright guys, let's turn this thing on. Boop. Gets that little ominous blue glow from the Thermaltake ring fans. It's not very loud. I mean, considering it's got airflow fans in the front, 3 fans in the back, stock Intel cooler. The graphics card fans don't spin up until it hits like 40 degrees, so that's kind of cool. Stays super quiet, especially because, you know, if it's just Minecraft or something, it's not really the most pull graphics, memory usage, blah 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 kind of thing. I know it is intense on some computers and on the graphics card. It is a more intense game than people give it credit for, big time. But with this setup, it crunches Minecraft with what was it, a 512 texture pack that we've got on there right now. So yeah, if you guys have ever heard of the Crew, that's the texture pack that they're using in their current CrewCraft videos right now, so you kind of get an idea of what it is. It's called Pure BD Craft. I don't remember the version, but it works fine. Computer handles it very well. If you're looking for 3D gaming applications, this computer does handle, you know, Witcher 3, 1080p, medium to high settings with the Hairworks turned off. If you turn on Hairworks and max that out, it drops down to unplayable frame rates. Not really. I love that thing. I just don't play it very often. So yeah, it does kind of dip into the 20s, 30s every now and then, but it will sit at a stable 50 to 55 between medium and high settings, depending on which you put it medium and which you put it high. One thing that I will tell you guys is if you are having a frame rate issue, turn shadows down. Turn the detail of shadows down, turn them off if you want to. For some reason, I don't know exactly how graphics cards work. I will find out if you guys want me to. But shadows, they just kick the shit out of some of the lower end GPUs. Not that this is a really lower end GPU, it's the current generation, I guess, but it does what it needs to do. But anyways, guys, that is the build, so I will skip back in a moment when I am in the middle of a benchmark. Okay, so we're back, and we're in the middle of running Prime 95. There's that cardboard in there, it kind of blocks the view. But anyways, Prime 95 is running. Please excuse the flickering of the screen. It's not really doing that, it's just a camera problem. Sorry, cat, you were standing on my chair when I sat down. Anyways, Prime 95 running the CPU stress test. It's only been running for like 2 minutes, no big deal. The stock cooler has it down to, you know, a whopping 67, 68, maybe. It's gonna go up the longer I run it. But last time I maxed it out on a full test, it got up to 77, 78 with the stock cooler. But that is running at 4.2 gigahertz. So that is a slight overclock over the stock. Sorry guys, I kind of ran out of camera time. But anyways, the stock CPU I believe is 3.2. So I've got it at a 1 gigahertz overclock. And the voltage, I actually have bumped it up a little bit to 1.226. No big deal. The CPU hits 80 degrees, but it's 80. It's not the worst temperature in the world. Maybe it is for prolonged usage, but it never sees those kind of temperatures while actually gaming. So let's go ahead and close this out. Stop all workers. The temperature slowly goes back down to where it should be, which is in the 30s. Dun dun dun. My camera ran out of time. Give it a minute. So this test is designed to kick your ass, basically. I know it's pre-rendered and it doesn't really put that much of a stress load on your computer, but it is 1080p at the highest setting in Firestrike, and we're sitting at around 40, sometimes dipping down to like 35-ish, but not really that big a deal. It's not a bad setup at all. I can't really complain. It doesn't have any issues while gaming or anything like that. Playing games like Counter-Strike on it are fine, no big deal. It handles pretty much everything we throw at it with stride. So we're going to get back to benchmarking, and I will give you guys a final score when it is done. While that is finishing, I will show you guys that I got one of my own shirts. That doesn't make me self-centered or weird or anything, but I really like it. It's comfortable. It's a Hanes tagless. It's not too thin. It's comfortable, lightweight, no issues. The printing is really nice. It doesn't stick up, and it's not hard like some companies, like when they make an iron-on, it like sticks out and it's really rough against you. It's actually pretty comfortable. So if you guys want to pick one up, I will definitely have a link in the description. You can get them in many colors for many price points, depending on how thick or how nice you want your shirt to be. You can get them anywhere from $10 all the way up to $55 for a nice, thick, good Hanes hoodie. So definitely check out the link in the description. So our final verdict is a 6,039. We got a graphics score of 7,958. Graphics test frames per second all above 30. Almost 40 on the first one. A physics score, because of the dual core processor, it's not going to have the best physics score, but that's okay, 4332. Now, it is an 1150 socket, so I can upgrade to a 4790K, a 4690K, a 4770K, a 46. You get my point. It's very upgradable for future reference. The thing works, it plays games, it's exactly what you want it to be. Total cost without having to purchase Windows, because I had a laptop that I ripped Windows 10 from. It was, let's see, around $438, $440, and then add tax onto that, because you gotta pay tax, I guess, because I live somewhere where tax is ridiculous. Tax is like 10% here, like 9.8. It's kind of ridiculous. I know some of you guys might have worse, but where I grew up, it was only like 6.4%. So, if you guys like the video, definitely like it. If you want to see more from this computer, or from my computer, or from a crappy laptop, or anything you guys might want to learn about, definitely let me know. Come check me out on Facebook. I'll put a link in the description to that as well. Always come back. Let me show you guys some stuff. I'll teach you some things. Maybe you'll teach me some stuff. We'll learn together. Definitely come back for more. Gerb indeed. Alright guys, have a good one.